Greetings and salutations. How's it going, everybody? It's Danthol, and it's time for another episode of Virtual Reality and VR. Virtual Reality is a show about virtual reality in virtual reality. As you can see, my whole room here, my messy little art studio and sticker bomb office. I don't know. I like to have a lot of things going on. I own the house, so I put up all of my art and stuff. You can look around and see it. Anyways, this is a show mostly about the Meta Quest 3. I got this bad boy in October of 2023 when it came out on launch day, and I've been creating a show about it and new things about virtual reality and stuff coming up. So yeah, we're now past the honeymoon phase of the Apple Vision Pro. I just said we're talking about the Meta mostly, but there's other things going on in the VR world, and the Apple Vision Pro has been the big talk about all virtual reality, spatial computing world that's going on out there. We're now a couple weeks past the launch of the Apple Vision Pro. We're getting to the point now to where people who bought them, who tested them out, decided maybe it's not for them, have now been returning them. So we've been seeing videos on YouTube and other spaces of I'm returning my Apple Vision Pro headset and getting my money back, because Apple apparently has this whole thing. Anything you buy, you can return it within 14 days if you're not satisfied. My one friend, Adam Contras, took his back to the Apple Store, and he was one of 5 returns for that. So reaching the end of that time. So now we've been seeing videos about why I'm returning my Apple Vision Pro. We're seeing videos of why I'm not returning my Apple Vision Pro. And then there's videos about the people who are returning or not returning them. So there's this whole news cycle that's going, because we want new content all of the time when it comes about, technology. But it's been exciting. I love all of the videos that are out there. There's one out there where the guy shows his dog's Apple Vision Pro and virtual reality, and puts the VR head, the Apple Pro, on a big sheepdog's head and says, "Ooh, the dog's on the moon. We're going to play fetch with the dog." Will he go and play fetch and everything? And it's obviously fake. You can see the dog moving its head around and everything, and the display screen in the background where you're supposed to see the dog's view of what the moon looks like totally is not syncing along with the dog's movements. Anyways, it's fun to see all of the content creators going crazy talking about the Apple Vision Pro. We're even seeing now the spatial video, which is the special thing. Whenever I say spatial, like I always hear like special videos. Spatial with a T. How does that make sense in English where a T is a sh sound? Anyways. The Apple Vision Pro does the spatial video now. If you have your Apple 15 Pro or whatever, I don't know, I'm not an Apple guy. You can take the video and you can put it into your Apple Cloud and you can watch these videos, and it's just like being there. And you can even, with the headset on, you can take videos. And there's that going on now. There's special things that people are doing, and they're making kind of mock-up spatial videos with Sora AI video generation and 3D enhancement and everything. It's a really cool time to be working in the virtual reality and AI space and everything that's going on. All these new technologies that are happening. But yeah, we're getting all of those types of videos, but nothing about new content about the Apple Vision Pro. We're not seeing new killer apps or new things that people are doing. Essentially, everybody's using this as the spatial computer as it's meant to be used, which is watching big giant movies and then doing your work. People putting a headset on and working for 8 hours, which sounds kind of dystopian, but I mean, if you're traveling, there's a couple use cases for people who want the Apple Vision Pro, but I don't think it's that many people yet. So we'll have to wait for whatever Apple follows this up with to see the thing that gets more mainstream and more software. But yeah, I think we're just about done. I think with the Apple Vision Pro news here on the virtual reality and VR, I'll probably have to bring it up a couple times just because it's exciting stuff to talk about. It's new, it's different. Other than that, Oh, I even had here on the notes the whole Zuckerberg video. Mark Zuckerberg had his video kind of dissing the Apple Vision Pro and saying that the Quest 3 is the better headset of the two, which I tend to agree with. I mean, this has games, this has apps, this has a lot more videos you can watch. If you want to, there's a whole category of videos that the Apple Vision Pro doesn't do quite properly yet for those 18 plus. So if that's what you're looking for in a headset, that's not in my notes. So that's I guess a quick tip, a pro tip. I don't know. If you're looking for those kind of videos, the Apple Vision Pro is not the way to go. Mainstream media is also tending to torch the Apple Vision Pro. Mainstream, it might just be my algorithm. It might just be my YouTube feeding me these stories, but it seems to be the narrative that the Apple Vision Pro is not the next big thing. There's still not a lot of clamoring for it. There's going to be a lot of refurbished AVPs on the market soon. I've also been checking out this new app called Banter. I guess it's not that new. I remember last year, right around Christmas time, they were advertising heavily in my algorithm that check out the new Banter app that's out there. And I finally installed it and checked it out. And it seems very much like, if you remember back in the day, there was an app that you can play on headsets all the way back to like the Oculus like Go and Quest 2 and Quest 1. I'm pretty sure it was on the go. I'll have to double check. But AltSpace was like the first type of multi-platform chat space that you can have in a virtual kind of space. And what was nice about it is it had YouTube embedded into it, video players and things like that, as well as things that you could put in your own coded games and stuff. So if you wanted to have a little duck shooting gallery, you can have the ducks and you can have guns and you can shoot and you can put your own kind of code into the game. But most people used it for social kind of things, and it had scheduled events that were coming up, that people were running. And Banter seems to be just like that. They even have the little AltSpace campfire space, which you can go and chat. VR chat also has the campfire. But when I found it in there, I was like, oh, this makes sense. That's what this is. It's the new AltSpace. So Banter seemed okay. I went into a room where there was a watching party for a crafting video. So somebody put the crafting video on and you can see everybody's avatars, and they were at virtual tables and desks or chairs and watching the video and kind of commenting. And I went up to the TV and I turned up the volume so I can hear the volume. And I watched a little bit of the crafting video with felt and batting and all of that kind of thing. I didn't see what they were making. I took because I was trying to figure out how to modify my avatar so I didn't look like a little rolling ball robot kind of thing. When I went into the AltSpace area, though, I did look totally like an AltSpace robot, which was neat. Also, been just playing my games, still playing Synth Riders and getting my gamer sizing in. There's been regular people who have been hosting games, and I've been playing those pretty much 3 or 4 days a week. I'll go into a multiplayer room. It's a good way to play the DLC without having to pay for it. You can just request that the host do the DLC. And there's a couple songs that people kind of interact with. The Cracker Island song by the Gorillaz. You can hear the girls and they're doing moves and everything in the background and having a lot of fun. Kind of like a karaoke style. You know, you do the song and then afterwards everybody has a little bit of talking and banter and decides what songs we want to do next, talks to somebody to wake them up to set themselves as ready. So there's those little funny moments, and then somebody else will come in to take over hosting, and it's the other person's spouse. So there's this community that's still built around Synth Riders that is fun. Also rolled credits on UNDERDOGS, which is great. I've talked about UNDERDOGS last episode. Now, I mean, I've played it and I've beat it, and I haven't beat many MetaQuest games, like Power Wash Simulator is one of them, and Grid Legends, the VR sim racing. I've beat that. UNDERDOGS is the latest one I've beat on the MetaQuest 3 now, and that game, I think, beat me up more than I beat up the bots that are in there. But once you really get into it and once you learn the locomotion of the whole thing and get your robot moving around and punching, it feels so great. It feels so cathartic to be able to just punch things and you're so physical with it. The third level of the game is like where the final boss is, and I won't spoil it too much. But last episode I was talking, I wish this game had like an adventure mode where you're kind of moving around and locomoting and going from place to place. And the third level is more of that. It's like a space station. So you go into a room and you beat up a bunch of bots and there's traps and things moving and grinders and you're in very tight spaces and you have to beat them all up, and then you kind of go to the, move yourself to the next thing, and there's a big button and you can hit the button and it opens up a door, and then you fight a new round of robots. There was this one moment in there where there's this big rhinoceros robot that comes and charges at you, and my health was getting relatively low and I just wanted to be done with this level, and the rhinoceros got himself into a corner, so I went and I backed up and I had it. And the game is all physics based, so when you're punching and you're punch, so I just grabbed it, I was like punch, and I was just swinging and just like I was like, oh my God. I was like about to have a heart attack. I was fake punching a robot so hard, but it's just, that's what that game is. You're punching and you're slamming and you're moving yourself around and punching and if you haven't played Underdogs, play Underdogs. And one pro tip about that, other than just getting it all out of your system, is if you're about to die, just hit the pause menu, reset the headset, take a break, and come back. And the game will reset to the beginning of the level. So like if you're just about to die, like your bubble's broken and there's no way you're going to do it, you can just like soft reboot it, come back into it and get back into it. So that's what I kind of did. I had to cheat my way and do some soft reboots a couple times till I finally rolled credits. I have a brand new run that I'm on right now that I think I'm going to be able to do without a reboot, though. So we'll see. What's great about it being a roguelike is every time you do a different run of the game, you build your bot in different ways, and you can choose your patrons to kind of say, I want a robot that does a lot of grab and stump damage, or I want a bot that does a lot of like quick locomotion, and you can build it up in that way, so you can play it in different ways. My last, the build that I beat the game with had a thing where if you absorbed a hit every 15 seconds. So that let me kind of move around and get in position and figure out the boss and get through it. But yeah, Underdogs, great game. This is one worth buying and playing through, because it's nothing else like this that you can do in a non-VR space. This is such a great example of locomotion and fighting and playing in a virtual reality game. Aside from that, I reinstalled Power Wash Simulator VR, which I've talked about it multiple times before already, but one of my favorites. They came out with the add-on DLC for free, which is called like the Muckingham Files. So far, I cleaned like a food truck and some other kind of vehicle, and then now I'm watching like the paintball arena. So it's more things to clean, and it's free with the game. They've also added some quality of life things that are auto saves, and it seems like they're setting the stage for more DLC coming down the pipe. And what's nice is the DLC, there's Back to the Future, Tomb Raider, SpongeBob SquarePants, Final Fantasy, and just like recently they released Warhammer 40K Power Wash Simulator. So you'd be watching, orc tanks and things like that. I have to check that out. But I'm hoping that all of these DLC packs make their way over to VR as well, so I can spend money and buy and play those. I think the Final Fantasy VII one is the one that I'm looking forward to the most. I'm a big Final Fantasy fan. I don't know if you can see. Can I? I can't pull up my shirt. I have a Final Fantasy tattoo. I'll show it to you some other time. But yeah, now that's about all the time I have for the show. Now we'll wrap it up and be back for another week's episode of Virtual Reality in VR.